Sitting here with the Runaway Guns, one of the most unique bands in our area. They are a mix of blues, rock, and folk Americana. Their songs speak of relatable topics such as love, loss, and hardships, amongst other things. I'm a huge fan, not just of their musicianship, but also of them as people. They just finished recording their first album, and I am so excited for them. So excited for them, and also for a community and beyond to hear it. Welcome, Chris, Kevin, Roger, Dan. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and talk with me. So, as I just mentioned, you just recorded a full-length album titled Sooner or Later. How do you guys feel about being able to share these songs with the world?
It's about time.
Yeah?
It's about time.
Same?
Yeah. I mean, how long have we been a band? What, like 5 years now?
Yeah, at least.
About 5 years. I mean, when we first got together, actually Kevin invited me to come over to his house to record.
Okay.
And we hung out. We were trying to record an album then. And in the process of doing that, I got asked to play a show. And I was like, hey, you want to come play drums for a show and be part of a band? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then it just kind of kept happening.
Okay.
And we became a band. And
So, obviously, you know
Yeah.
Roger, because you've known him all your life.
Yeah, all my life. That's my dad.
How did Chris come into the picture?
Well, me and Chris met through open mics.
Okay.
When I first started getting out in, this county, when I first moved back out here from New Mexico.
Okay.
I started going out to open mics, and I met Chris and just played kind of some of my songs, and she was always there, like she was,
Yeah.
playing to everybody's music, and it just
I'll
gelled.
I'll tell that story.
Oh, yeah? Okay, go.
Yeah,
Go for it.
Because what happened was, we were sitting at the bar, and
Uh-huh.
I was complaining that I couldn't find a band to play with.
Okay.
And I was complaining to Steve Nelson, who's sitting next to me. And the next thing I hear is a voice past Steve that goes, "You can play in my band."
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's how that happened.
Just like that.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah.
Well, I've been, you're a staple in the community. You have played with, even with me, you're humble servant here.
Okay.
No, but you're playing with everybody, and you bring a unique style to the Runaway Guns. Like I hear you mold yourself to whomever it is you're playing with. So, you're at the bar, you tell Chris, come be in my band. Was Roger already in the band?
Yeah, I mean, when I first moved back out here, I was living with him because,
Okay.
I was a deadbeat. And,
Stop it.
Well, I mean, he's always been my biggest supporter,
Sure.
Musically. So we were just playing around trying to get something that we could play together,
Mm-hmm.
and we took that out to open mics and kind of workshopped it a lot, and it just evolved from there.
That's perfect. Yeah. Good. So you recorded with Jeff Farias, and you and I have talked about this previously, but can you share with the world, those who are watching, what was it like recording with Jeff?
Awesome.
Yeah.
He's great. He's a great guy. He's also a very talented musician. But his studio, like his space there, it's in an old farmhouse, really old farmhouse. So just the vibes in there are great. He knows what he's doing.
And you said his place is like a museum.
Yeah, it's like a museum of music. Like he's got all this old equipment that nobody uses anymore, but it's still great equipment. And it was fun to see all of it. And
Awesome.
Play around with it.
Not only equipment, but art. Like
Art too.
him and
Yeah.
his wife
Records,
have art everywhere
yeah.
from like collecting from like all the travels they've had and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like you said, cool vibes in that place.
Cool vibes, like a music museum.
And
Art museum.
And you opted to do a live recording for this album.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So, we did it guitar, bass, and drums and reference vocal all at the same time.
Okay.
And then we came back in and did, the keeper vocals over top of that. And then Chris came in and did all of her lead stuff. And then I came back in and did a couple lead things over top of that. So, doing it like that kind of keeps the rhythm section gelled.
Sure.
It feels like it's all in the same room and it's all doing the same, there's no disconnect.
Okay. So one thing I said to you was that it kept that Runaway Guns essence. So the record, it sounds like you're at Name the Bar, and we're watching you live. Was that was intentional?
Yep, that was the idea.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of people nowadays, they're recording individually. Like,
Sure.
they'll get their drum tracks done and set, and then they just record everything else on top of that. And I think usually that's a limitation of space, because you can't get isolation. But at Jeff's place, we had no problem getting isolation for you know, the drums, the bass, and the rhythm guitar all at the same time.
Okay. And how did you decide on the 10 songs that you put on the album?
It kind of happened organically.
Okay.
It was the ones that just kind of flowed out first, the ones that I kind of want to get done and on a record, so we could move on to newer stuff.
Okay. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But okay.
Originally, it wasn't going to be 10 songs.
Originally, it was going to be 12 songs. I actually cut 2 from the record because...
At first, you were whipping out and only wanting to do
Yeah,
like 5 or 6.
yeah, that's true. At first, we were... Well, because I didn't want to waste any of Jeff's time. I felt like I was, you know, imposing, even though he never made me feel like that
Did you?
once. But I just, you know, I was like, oh, you're letting us do this for free. I don't want to take up too much of your time, sir. You
But
know.
we had such a great time doing those songs that...
Yeah, that he was like, no, come back, do another 6 songs. This is fun. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Right on. I'm glad for that because, yeah, I think 5 songs wouldn't have been enough, in my opinion. But I'm
Yeah.
speaking as a fan. So let's talk about some of the songs that are on this record. Which one, and we'll go whichever way, whoever wants to jump in first. Which one are you the most proud of recording?
You want to start, Chris?
Well, I always like Stay a While.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the reason I always like Stay a While is it is the one song that I've ever done with Dan that I still play exactly the same way as I did the first time I ever
Really?
played with him. Yep. Yeah, so we jammed together at open mic. It was just, I literally play it note for note exactly the same way.
Okay.
And I very rarely do that with any song. Although I love playing music I've never heard before. I always find that it's the most free I am. Often
Yeah.
my first takes are the best takes.
Yeah.
Because then I think a little bit too much about it. But that particular song is always exactly the same way I played it the first time.
So
I
it
really
has
do.
a special place in your heart for that reason.
Yeah, and we always, almost always wrap up our sets
Yeah.
with it. So I just like that conclusion. It brings everything together. You know.
It was definitely one of the songs we bonded over a lot.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
absolutely.
Because it was one of the first songs we played together, and then it just gelled right off the bat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I get to play accordion.
Yeah, that
And
too.
that makes me happy.
Rolling.
What I want, I cannot define. It's time for me to make up my mind. I could leave, but where would I go? But I don't want my pain to show. Well, now tell me, where do I stand? A shadow of the man I once was. Could you tell? Been ever since I've been, I stay a while. And I hope you find me well, here in my personal hell. Did you think that you would find that you were still stuck on my mind? Well, now tell me, where have you been? 'Cause I sure could use a friend right about now. It's a shame that we had to play this game. I'll stay a while, and I'll say a while. And it's time that I said goodbye. Well, it's been one hell of a ride. And don't wait, don't you dare tell me that I didn't care. what happens now? Do you want me hanging around? If I did, would it hurt? Would I get the final word if I stayed a while? If I stayed a while, if I stayed a while, if I stayed a while.
For those of you who don't know, Chris plays
Everything.
1,000 instruments, maybe,
If it
possibly
makes sound, I
1,001.
enjoy it.
Anyone else?
What's the one that I put congas on?
Oh,
Dear Life.
Whole Dear Life, yeah.
That's my favorite. Yeah, I tried to put like we were talking about. Jeff's studio just is like a museum of like old instruments and stuff like that. So I tried to grab whatever percussion instruments were laying around that I could. Some of it worked, some of it didn't, but that one seemed to work. They weren't sure. Daniel was like, "All right, you really want to put congas on this?" I was like, "Yeah."
I'm glad I listened
And it
to you
worked.
guys because it worked. It really did.
So that's my favorite.
Well, in terms of favorite songs, Skin and Bones is always going to be near and dear to me. It's actually how Kevin got pulled into the fold, is when Dan first moved back out here. I know Kevin because I knew his sister-in-law before his brother met her.
okay.
And, so we were at a backyard thing at Doug's house, at Kevin's brother's house.
Uh-huh.
And Dan came with me. And I brought my stand up, and Dan had his guitar, and those they typically call those hootenannies because people can just bring instruments and people play whatever they
Sure.
want to play. And we did, and we played Skin and Bones, and that's when Kevin was like, "Hey, I want to record you. I'm into this." And of course it's just a great song that everybody loves.
It is.
But in terms of the recording that I like the most is Methamphetamine. That came out awesome.
So you played the banjo in that
Yeah.
song, right?
Indeed he
Yeah.
does.
What was that like? Tell us.
It took a lot of practice because I worked it out on banjo, and I played it a couple times just sitting around with Dan at his house, but always slower than we recorded it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So then when I went in to record it, I'm like, oh shit.
Yep.
So I had to go back and practice a bit and come back on my own a couple
wow.
weeks later.
Yeah, we were listening to that because for everybody, Dan shared the record with us,
Yeah,
and
you get the pre-release.
I was so excited. Downloaded them, put them on my iTunes, put them on my phone, and so we were listening to it, and we're talking about Methamphetamine because it's one of my favorite songs by you all, and we're like, man, who's playing the banjo? And Jay said, he's like, I think that's Roger. I think Roger said that he was going to play the banjo in this song. So I'm glad you did that. It gives it yes, you guys capture that Runaway Guns live, at Name the Bar essence, but putting that percussion and the little extras,
Yeah,
I think.
and in the shakers, because it's such a dark song, and
It is.
we
Yeah.
captured that really well. But having the little plinks of banjo and the shakers that Kevin did
Yeah.
and tambourine, it just makes
Sure.
that little bit of
a little-
brightness underneath the bottom.
Sprinkle a little magic on that. Sure.
And the backing vocals that they do sometimes live, but just being able to
Yeah.
place it in the mix really brings that out.
Awesome. What about you, Dan?
I don't know. For me, I feel like it's one of the more. I don't know. Don't Want You Back. Don't Want You Back. I love
Okay.
playing that song. It's always been a fun song.
That
for
is
me.
a super fun song.
I just have fun with it. You know, it's pretty straightforward. We can just rock through it and have
Yeah.
fun. And I think it really came out good on the album.
Yeah. But that must be tough for you because these are all your babies, right? You're primarily the songwriter and of the group.
I am, and most of the songs on this record are about rough times in my life.
Yeah.
So, but Don't Want You Back is kind of a triumphant one. It's
Yeah.
sort of it marks a turning point
Yes.
in that era of my life where I kind of say, you know what, screw you,
Yeah.
I don't want you back. You know,
It's a big middle finger.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, how you doing, honey? Well, I know it's been a while. Might look a bit different, 'cause I learned how to smile. 'Cause that day that I walked out your door, been feeling so alive. Well, listen up, honey. My coming's no surprise. I don't want you back, girl. Oh, you're gonna have to face the facts. I don't want you back, girl. Oh, you're gonna have to live with that. I don't want you back, girl. Oh, you give me a heart attack. I don't want you back, girl. Oh, just hang around feeding off your scraps. 'Cause I'm not a fool, and I'm not alone. Well, I don't want you back. Well, your desperate propositions. Well, you know I've heard them all. You're a Spanish Inquisition, so I'm blocking all your calls. 'Cause I'm a damn on a mission. Well, I'm gonna see it all. I'm gonna leave your name and number on the man's bathroom wall. Don't want you back, girl. Oh, you're gonna have to face the facts. I don't want you back, girl. Oh, you're gonna have to live with that. I don't want you back, girl. Oh, you give me a heart attack. I don't want you back, girl. Oh, just hang around feeding off your scraps. 'Cause I'm not a fool, and I'm not alone. Well, I don't want you back. I don't want you back, girl. Oh, you're gonna have to face the facts. I don't want you back, girl. Oh, you're gonna have to live with that. I don't want you back, girl. Oh, you're giving me a heart attack. I don't want you back, girl. Oh, just hang around feeding off your scraps. 'Cause I'm not a fool, and I'm not alone. Well, I'm not a fool. Oh, and I'm not alone. Well, I don't want you back. Yeah, I don't want you back. Yeah, I don't want you back. Yeah, I don't want you back.
No, I again, do you? Can we talk about some of these songs and what I picked 5 songs
Yeah.
to talk about because
Okay.
like I picked my favorites
Okay.
because
Sure.
that's how it works. You know?
I'll do my best to remember what the hell I was thinking.
Okay, Stay a While.
Stay a While. Yeah, that one is a little sadder.
Yeah.
You know, that's not the turning point of, the breakup era, but yeah, that one was just kind of I was sort of in a place where I was kind of homeless, more or less, and I was floating around from place to place, and every now and then I would find myself landing back at my ex's house briefly to find a place to sleep, and it was always extremely awkward, and there was always awkward conversations that happened. So it was one of those things where a song just came out of it naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was while you were in New Mexico?
Yeah.
Okay.
For those of you that don't know, I lived in New Mexico for a large portion of my life. I was born in Maryland. I was born in what, D.C.?
Yeah.
I need you
Georgetown.
for a lot of this information.
Yeah, you were born at Georgetown.
Born in Georgetown.
We lived in Waldorf at the time.
Yeah. And then I moved out to New Mexico with my mom when I was, 12, 13. And I was out there for all the way up until I moved back out here when I was, 27-ish. So, but yeah. That was when I was still living in New Mexico.
And what did you do when you were in New Mexico? I'm assuming that you. How long have you been playing?
Since I don't know, I was 12, 13.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. Mainly, I started off liking punk rock. Honestly, I liked punk rock. I was a total product of my era. Because when I was in middle school, Blink 182 and Green Day were the things that I was trying to emulate. But
Sure.
I evolved pretty quickly out of that thanks to him. Mainly.
Thank you, Dad.
Yeah. Well, he introduced me to Jimi Hendrix, and it
There
blew
you
my
go.
mind. Oh my God.
Right.
Guitar can sound like this.
Sure.
And, that sort of gave me a new bar to work up to, and I started getting more into blues because that's where Jimmy came from. And, mainly old Delta blues, and that's what really spoke to me the most. And then living out in New Mexico, there's a lot of really great folk singers.
Yeah.
In Santa Fe specifically, everyone out there is a folk singer, and they're all good. It's a really, really high bar to match up to. But so that I got that little bit of Americana in there. I got the blues influence, and I was playing in bands, in high school, mainly metal bands.
Right.
Believe it or not, because that's what all my friends were doing and listening to, and so I got a little bit of metal influence. But I was playing in a band called Adrenaline in high school, and we played a couple shows, and then that evolved into 20 other bands over the course of 5 years, because that's how metal bands are. They swap members like hermit crabs.
Yes.
Yeah. And and then I started playing in bands that were a little closer to what I wanted to do, like the Ragged Company.
Okay.
Was one that I played in my early 20s, and that was all my friends that I lived with. We lived in a big group house on Yucca Street in Santa Fe. We called it the halfway house of the brokenhearted, because that's where everyone ended up and landed when they broke up with their girlfriends. They were all musicians in one way or another. So yeah, that was Ragged Company was sort of like a collection of musicians that played in different assortments.
Okay.
Yeah, and I played in that for a while, and that evolved into the original Runaway Guns, which was Uncle Dan, Danny Green, who was my friend's uncle. Then Tyler Gardner on drums, and then it was a 3-piece thing that we did. Yeah, and I played in that for a year or two.
So when you moved out here, you brought the Runaway Guns with you?
I brought the Runaway Guns name with me, yeah.
Okay, cool. Here to Stay.
Here to Stay. That one's kind of about moving, honestly.
Yeah?
I'm singing about Maryland in that song, because I used to come out and visit him over the summers all the time. I would spend the entire summer out here in Maryland with my dad, and then I would go back to New Mexico. And that one was kind of thinking about the dichotomy between the two different places that were both my origin.
Okay.
So I'm from far away, but I'm here to stay. That's me kind of singing about coming home and staying home.
But you miss Santa Fe?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, I just miss the desert.
Sure.
It's pretty. There's a lot of artists. It's very bohemian, Bohemian.
But now you're out here where there's,
Now I'm out here.
You're out here in
where
the
there's National Bohemian.
Right.
Yeah, Natty Bo is my new bohemian.
hey, you find the Bohemians somehow, right?
Yep.
You got to find them.
But honestly,
I'm glad that you're here, though. Like, you know,
Me too. I mean, the music community out here
fantastic.
is more than I could have ever hoped for. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's really cool. I
Absolutely.
mean, Santa Fe's got a lot of people that have played with big names, you know. But out here, people are a little more focused on their community.
Yeah,
You know,
100%. And you know, I mean, I've known Roger for a little bit. We used to work together, like, I don't know, 20 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know you until I met you as a musician, right?
Right.
And what a treat. I can't remember. I was trying to think about this, you know, this morning. Like, when was the first time I saw you guys?
It
Whatever-
was a Halloween thing.
Was it a Halloween thing?
At the deli.
Yeah,
It
Days
was like, holy shit.
Well, to be fair, those Halloween shows are kind of our forte.
Yeah, yeah.
Those Halloween shows we did at the deli were some of our best ones.
Stop.
For the Halloween shows, she dresses like she's the best.
Well, I'm a former theater teacher.
yeah.
It's, you know.
Right. Like, if you didn't, you wouldn't be doing your job, right?
Well, that's all right. You should see the costume I just got in. It's great.
Okay, so
It's not
Yeah.
the Halloween show, actually.
You
okay.
dropped some money on those things too.
I don't know what you're talking about. No. I'm playing a show with Doc Lawn,
that's right.
you know, which is in line one. So we're
That's
dressing.
right.
Well, I shouldn't say anything probably about how we're dressing. I think it's a surprise, but
Yeah, keep it a surprise.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's-
okay.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool. You know, we're all gonna be dressed out for it. So
Well,
that's nice.
it's a good thing that you're not dressing up this year, because Jay, you always beat Jay. Like, he's come second to you a couple
I
times.
have. To be honest, that's really. I just like dressing up. I truly do.
So,
You know,
So do we.
Last year when I got to be Elton John, and so many of my close friends had no idea who I was the best. So
I still think you should wear that costume every time we play.
no, but her,
that was a good one.
so the first time I saw you guys, you were wearing the Mary Poppins.
Yeah,
And it
Well,
was
there
like-
was a bunch of musicians who called me that, which is why I did that.
Well, and I was going to say, it's so fitting.
Yeah.
But that was the very first time I think that was the very first time I saw
Yeah.
you guys. And as soon as you started playing, I was like, oh my God, like, where have I been? You know, kind of thing. Chris, you're a teacher. How long have you been playing music?
41 years.
So since you were
5 years old.
3.
Nice try. 5.
And how did you start?
So I was a problematic child.
Oh,
I know, it's shocking.
okay.
So I was handed to my music teacher
Uh-huh.
in elementary school, and she basically was told to do something with me. Which is every time that's done to me now, I kind of laugh hysterically inside. But there was a clarinet in the closet at the school when I was kind of a big kid. And so just on a lark, she started showing me how to play clarinet. So, I started doing that. And then after that, the next year, there wasn't a clarinet in the closet, but there was something else.
Okay.
And then after that, there was something else. And because I was a kid who didn't have a lot of resources, usually it was whatever was in the closet at school was the thing I got to play.
Oh, wow.
So I played clarinet, saxophone, trumpet, drum set, piano, guitar, bass before I left high school,
Holy shit.
and all
Yeah.
the things that go along with that. And then, after that, I went to school at Duquesne University in Pennsylvania for
So
music.
I'm assuming that, like, she gave you this clarinet and you were like, it came natural to
Music, well, I mean, it's not like, all right, if one more person talks to me about talent, I'm just going to, I've spent a lot of hours practicing.
you? Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do is I practice. So,
But you have I believe you 100% that you spend a lot of time practicing, but you also have an ear. Like, you're able to dial in.
music makes sense to me
Okay.
in a very strange way. I have synesthesia, so I can see colors when it comes to tone, but not pitch. So mostly it's very annoying. It gets in the way. I see other things when I'm playing. But it makes sense to me.
Okay.
Music is my language. So that's why, and because I realize that music is a relationship and patterns, I can easily take a string instrument and, I know how to play violin. Okay, well now I want to learn how to play erhu. It's a Chinese thing. And the patterns and the relationships are the same. It doesn't take me, I always joke that I can take about 2 weeks and play whatever it is on stage. And pretty much I can do that.
Yeah.
So, it's just a matter of having the physicality, and I'm just better at whatever I happen to be playing right now.
You surprised me. I mean, getting to know you, doing open mics and whatnot. You're sitting at the bar, and I was like, I really want Chris to play this song with me, and it's Changed by Blind Melon, which I do just about every time I play. But it's not a song that a lot of people know. And she's sitting at the bar, and I was like, Chris, can you come up here with me? And she was like, sure. And I give her during the solo, I give her the floor, and she just goes, and I'm like, I wonder if she's ever heard this song before.
Oh, those are my favorites.
I know. I know that now.
I mean, we didn't listen. I have no musicians in my family, and we didn't listen to a lot of music growing up. I mean, my exposure to music, other than classical music, was like falling asleep with my great-grandmother with an earbud in one ear listening to country.
Oh, wow.
That was pretty much it, except for when I got to school. So a lot of things, like, I always joke I don't know a lot about, like, the names of songs and things, but I didn't hear popular music really until I got out of college. So most of my exposure was classical. And even I was a tenor sax major in college, but I was a classical tenor saxophone major. I studied under Jim Hulick. It was saxophone for symphony orchestra. So I wasn't even really exposed to jazz or blues until after I left. And when I came down here for the teaching job, I had young kids, but I wanted to get out and play. My kids were gone on the weekends. So I started playing with a couple of the local musicians, and I didn't realize this musician scene existed. In my hometown in Pennsylvania, the last time I went back, I couldn't find a band.
Really?
No, I couldn't find a band to listen to. I couldn't find a band listed on the internet.
Wow.
It's just that wasn't something that was really valued that way there. So I really came into it more here, and and for the longest time I sang and played piano or played guitar, and then I had permanent vocal damage from, evidently you're not supposed to sing 15 hours a day.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no.
7 days a week.
Oh.
That's what I was in for. They offered to do like surgery, and I said, Southern Maryland, no, I'm good. Love y'all, but
Yeah.
so my vocal therapist at the time, she's like, well, what are you gonna do? Like, this is like what you do. You sing, you teach, you sing at night. And I said, that's cool. I play a lot of instruments. Why don't I just switch over?
Yeah.
And she goes, well, if you think that'll work, I'm all right. But most people don't realize what I'm really doing on my instruments is singing.
Yeah.
My
That
leads
makes
are very
sense.
melodic because what I'm doing is playing the parts I sing in
That makes sense. That makes complete sense now.
because
Absolutely.
I lost that piece, but I just grew into something else.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'm with you with the whole. I've talked to you about it. I've been having some issues with my voice as well, and they offered me. I mean, my doctor said, she's not in Southern Maryland. No offense to Southern Maryland doctors, but she said to me, she's like, we can do surgery, but she was like,
it's a risky surgery. People who have all the money in the world,
100%.
It gets botched on the regular.
Sure.
And it's just I just don't want to lose what I have left.
Absolutely. But not saying that, oh well, this happened, so for this other thing to happen, but I am that you have that at least, like if I lost my voice, I don't know what I would do, because that would be the end of music for me.
Well, I was telling one of my interns the other day that like one of the best things that ever happened to me was losing my voice. It made me a better teacher.
Wow.
I mean, I can teach without saying things to 5-year-olds, and they'll do whatever I want.
Well,
It made me learn how to do everything in a completely different, more meaningful way.
Sure.
So, I mean, it was a great learning experience. I mean, I don't in any way regret losing my voice. I would not go back and do it any differently.
Yeah.
So,
I think you should look at it the same way too, because I mean, you're more than just a singer.
Yeah.
Like you're a good guitar player too, and you can play
wow,
keys
thank
if
you.
you wanted to. Like losing your voice, I've thought about this a lot too, because like I smoke too much, I drink too much. My vocal cords have gotten damaged too. Like every now and then I'll sing and like, ooh, it's not doing what I tell it to do.
Yeah.
And I get worried about that. But I think about it, it's like, well, then I'll just fall back on another instrument. I'll learn more instruments. Music never dies because you lose the ability
you're right.
to play one thing.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And on that note, if you get any better at the guitar, I'm going to like scream.
Says who?
We were at when you were doing your mashup. It was funny. You did Catfish,
The legendary Matt Garrett.
right? And you did Catfish, and somebody said, and rightfully so, when you were done, they said, that was a statement. That's like the way he was playing. So we come out because y'all were taking a break, and the first thing I said to him was like, first of all, fuck you. Because holy shit. Just
There's nothing like a one-chord song.
Yeah, it's one chord the whole time. It's really easy to do whatever the hell you want.
But he's shredding and like, in his noodly way that he does, and
he
noodly. Looks so cool, and like and he sounded so gritty and just and it just gets to you, gets right to the pit of your soul.
I mean, when I'm playing the mashups with Matt, love you, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
I get to kind of cut loose a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to lead the band. With the Runaway Guns, a lot of times I'm trying to be a band leader. I'm trying to orchestrate. I'm trying to, hold down the rhythm and hold down the core of the song. That's my job as a front man. So I don't branch out and do lead stuff because Chris has got us covered.
Right.
She has got us covered. So, when I do get the opportunity to just cut loose on guitar, I like to take it.
Absolutely. And you and Matt have a really good chemistry.
Yeah. I love playing with him.
Chemistry. All right, so we talked a little bit about Don't Want You Back, so I'm skip over that one. Dream.
That one is kind of a song about mental health, really.
Okay.
A lot of people say, "Oh, it sounds like a song about tripping." It's like not really. No. It's more when you've hit that point of depression and you start losing touch with reality.
Sure.
And everything just sort of feels like it's upside down and you're just sort of lost in a dream. The world outside around you is just not tangible anymore. You've kind of become lost inside yourself. So that's what that song's about, really.
I love that, like, the way that you say things in your writing and that, your songs are about, like, real life, but they don't sound, what's the word, commercial. Does that make sense?
Well, God, I hope not.
No, not at all. They say, like, I believe you when you're singing. I believe every single word you're saying.
Every word I write is based directly on a life experience.
Sure.
I don't make stuff up. It's all things that I've lived.
Okay.
It's all things that I've actually felt. Like I don't. That's the true key of being a good folk singer is writing about what you know and what you've lived. So at my core, I am a folk singer.
Yeah.
That is what I do with the Guns.
That's the Todd Snyder in you.
It's the Todd Snyder in me. Love Todd Snyder. God. Anybody out there, if you've never heard of Todd Snyder, go listen to him. He's amazing. Leave your politics at the door, though.
I wish sleep would come easy, and I hope the days go by smooth, and I wish that I could remember the days of my youth, and I feel the weight of my worries as they're shackled to my feet. I've been falling a while, but I've been in denial. But it all will be over real soon. 'Cause I'm nothing, I'm just skin and bones, and the liquor will drown my soul. Will I ever pull through on my way back to you? 'Cause I just can't take it anymore. I think that I might be slipping, be pushing my luck. And I don't think I'm really winning, 'cause I'm still stuck in this rut. Well, maybe I thought I could wing it, as careless as a breeze. I get carried away with the wind every day, and I won't be coming back soon. 'Cause I'm nothing, I'm just skin and bones, and the liquor will drown my soul. Will I ever pull through on my way back to you? 'Cause I just can't take it. No, I just can't take it. No, I just can't take it anymore. Someday when I have grown older, I'll look back and laugh at it all. And if I can ever get sober, well, I just might give you a call.
All right. So, what about another one of my favorites, methamphetamine?
Oh, well, that one's kind of self-explanatory, I think. I've had issues with drug abuse in the past.
Okay.
That's no secret because of that song, really. But yeah, just kind of the lifestyle you end up leading when you start doing a ton of meth. Yeah, you're up all day, you're up all night for multiple days on end, and you just feel unstoppable. But
Sure.
at the same time, you're destroying your life.
Correct.
It's like the tagline in that one. I can't claim credit for the tagline in this song. This was a saying that was passed around in my old group of friends. It's
Okay.
like, you lose 30 pounds, 30 friends in 30 days on the methamphetamine diet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's truer words were never spoken.
So, but about the music in that song.
Yeah, that's very heavily influenced from ragtime bands, like the more modern ragtime bands that started popping up, in the 2010s. Chief example of which is like the Devil Makes Three.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever heard of them, but they're a three-piece string band, like a stand-up bass, banjo player, and a guitar player, but they're very rhythmic. Mm-hmm. And the stand-up is basically the percussion as well. Like it's very, very four on the floor, percussive and rhythmic string band music, and it's usually very dark and eerie. And I kind of drew a lot of inspiration from that, and also like bands like Swamp Candy, where the stand-up is just like a kick drum. Like that guy smacks the hell out of that thing.
He also has a kick drum.
He also has a kick drum too. But yeah, it just that dark, eerie, haunting sort of.
It fits the lyrics so well. Like it really does. It's at first I have a really hard time like listening to lyrics. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, I'm constantly the drums and the bass are the first thing I listen to. Yeah. But it wasn't until I don't know, maybe like the third time that I saw you all live that I started paying attention to the lyrics, and I was like, holy shit, this is a really dark song.
It's
but
kinda dark, yeah.
It's a good song. It's a really good song. The music alone is just
Well, I mean, it sounds pretty good on the record too, because we can add more instrumentation and
Right.
even give it more of a creepy vibe. Because it is kind of creepy when you're on day 3 of a meth bender, you start seeing shadow people out of the corner of your eye.
Sure.
You just kind of, you're in a different plane of existence.
absolutely.
And I tried to convey that with that song, that mindset, that feeling.
Reminds me of like one of those old 20s or 30s cartoons, was it Fleischer or whatever, black and white.
Uh-huh.
Like, where the ghost would like creep up on you and stuff.
Yeah.
It would kind of the music kind of sounds like that. I like that. And the ooze that we did kind of emphasized that.
Oh,
That added a really nice touch to it as well.
I said at practice the other night, I regret not getting Jeff on those oohs because he's got a
Yeah,
nice
he's got a
baritone.
Oh yeah.
Booming voice.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Such a nice, kind-hearted, gentle man with the most commanding presence.
He does. You know, he played up in La Plata for the play
Yeah.
music on the porch day, and he was the only one that was not mic'd.
Oh, really? I believe it. Yeah.
And I was sitting across the street,
yeah.
and you could hear him like he was,
Mhm.
you know,
The man can project. Yeah.
Indeed,
Yeah.
you can.
very much so. I love his voice too. All right, for dear life.
For dear life, hold on for dear life. That one's about just being broke. I mean, let's face it.
But tell me
Yeah,
about that song
Yeah,
because
that's at the start of the pandemic.
Yeah, that was at the start of the pandemic. I was broke as hell. Me and Jen had just moved in together. Jen Dorsey, Dingus has a camera.
Dingus.
Love you.
Hi, Dingus.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, perfect
It
timing.
was perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect timing to move in with someone and start dating someone too, because we were then trapped in a house together that we had just moved into for several months. That's how strong relationships.
Well,
are born.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, and we were just struggling financially because I was out of work, she was out of work, and we're holding on for dear life,
Yeah.
hoping, praying that something turns around, and
I love what you say in that song. There's so many Americans dealing with that same scenario, and it's kind of cool that not cool that you guys were not working or whatever, but it's
Yeah.
kind of cool that you found each other at the time that you did,
yeah,
right?
it really did. I mean, moving in with Jen was a godsend.
Yeah, she's,
Honestly, it's hard to write all these depressing songs now.
I know. Damn it, Jen.
I know. She said it multiple times. She's like, I'm ruining your music. I'm like, no, you're not. I'd rather be happy than write good music.
Absolutely,
And I still write good
absolutely.
I wrote Dream after we had been together.
Okay.
I've written Run and Castle Made for Two, which is a song that's going to be on the next album.
Yay.
That's about her.
And, Here to Stay.
Here to Stay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I wrote the lyrics for that one. That was actually a song I played on banjo for a little while, and it wasn't something that I ever seriously considered. It was just a banjo lick that I had lyrics to, and then we turned it into a full song. One practice. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm still writing music, and honestly, I think it's kind of better music.
Oh, absolutely.
It's different. It's a different era of my life, so I'm writing
Correct.
about what my life is now.
Yep.
That's the only way it works for me.
Exactly. Kevin, how did you start playing the drums, or did you start? You didn't start with the drums, did you?
No.
Oh, he's a guitar player.
He's a
good guitar
phenomenal guitar
Let's
player.
not get carried away.
No, it's true.
I play the guitar. I play drums. I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. So what was the question? How did I get started?
Yeah.
Or how did I become a drummer?
How did you get started playing music? Did you have a magic closet like Mary Poppins over
I
here?
wish. I think we all wish we had a magic
Yeah.
closet.
Knock the closet.
I'm not knocking the closet. I'm saying
We're envying it.
Yeah, we're envying it.
absolutely. Nope, I didn't have a closet.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I mentioned this on the Beatles podcast I was on, but my brother gave me his Kiss records, and it was the rest is history. I noticed you have a animal puppet up
Uh-huh.
here. Reminds me of neighbors that I had. They had a Miss Piggy puppet, but they were also the first people to give me a guitar. They gave me a old Silvertone probably from the 60s. acoustic.
Sweet.
And the strings were like that far away from the neck, and
Oh my God.
I loved it, and I started playing it and playing along to records and stuff like that. And I played saxophone in middle school, and Dad gave me an electric guitar at 12, and that's kind of the magical age, right? 12, 13, that's when you all you want to do is practice. So that's what I kind of did, fell in with some people, playing bands, and I don't know how I fell in love with drums, but I guess, playing in bands, I would always, like, in between songs, I'd like to sit down at the drums and just mess around, and I found out I could keep a beat, but, yeah.
And you're a great singer too.
Oh, thanks.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think I always credit my parents with that, but they say, oh, we can't sing, but they can.
Yeah?
They're awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
My grandmother used to say the same thing. My grandmother had perfect pitch.
Really?
Tempo, not so much, but perfect pitch. And she was always singing. No, it's true. And she would even, I love you, Grandma. She would even tell you that. But all of her children came out with that singing voice.
Yeah.
And she would sing around the house all the time. But never sang outside the house. It was never formally,
Yeah.
she was never taught how to sing, but she did.
Right, yeah, that's my parents too. They would sing along to the radio or just sing old songs that they knew from their youth, and but they would never sing in public or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I always loved it and picked up on it, so I don't know. I guess I can sing okay.
You can sing okay, you can play the guitar, you
Thank
can
you.
play the drums,
You play the bass.
play the bass. Good God.
Like Chris, if
Yeah.
it makes noise, I want to play it.
Yeah, Kevin can pick something up and just figure out how
Yeah.
to play it. And
That's fun.
So it works so well with the four of you then, because you're all, you have that in common. Where
yeah, well, and even him, I mean, he loves finding the weirdest random instruments that no one has ever heard of, and then he buys one and then learns how to play it. Yeah, and then I like playing anything I can get my hands on
Sure.
that has strings. Like
The difference is, I pick it up and I have to study to learn it.
you work a
He
little bit
picks
harder.
something up
Oh, I
and just
know.
starts playing it.
I know. I'm sure of it. I
I'm
say,
like, hey, look what I got. He's like, cool.
I was saying this to Bryce, hi Bryce, not too long ago, that, we were playing a song together, or I gave her a song for an upcoming show we have. And I was like, here, I worked like 4 weeks to learn the song, and I'm nowhere near done with it. But I know that if I give this to you, you're just, in like 20 minutes, you're going to have it all figured out. So, but, we have those, we need that relationship,
Yeah.
Some of us have to work a little bit harder, but we get it done. How about you, Roger? How did you start playing music?
I started out like the first year of elementary school where you were allowed, and I tried violin and was horrid. My brother and both my sisters played clarinet all the way through high school, so I had to be different. So I took up flute and played that through elementary school. In middle school, I played flute in concert band and the bass drum in marching band.
Oh, okay.
Because I was a tall, lanky thing. And,
And then that's typically
but
what you
could-
need for the.
yeah, but I could carry a bass drum. And then when I was in 8th grade, my high school had an awesome jazz band. And, went to state every year. And their Barry sax player was graduating. I almost said retired. Well, was graduating.
Well, retiring from
and so
school.
the high school band director, came and went to all the sax players, and none of them were interested in playing Barry sax.
Okay.
So he went to flute players because the fingerings are very similar. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll try it. And so I worked with him after school for a little bit, and we just butted heads.
Oh shit.
He demanded a lot of practice, and I was lazy. And, I didn't have the instrument at home. I had to stay after school in order to practice. I wasn't going to do that. So in high school, I didn't play at all and, just became a track guy. And I really didn't play instruments again until when he started playing guitar. I'd always loved listening to the bass
And
parts.
how old was he?
He was like 11 or 12 when
Yeah.
he first started playing. And he said 12 or 13, but that's
why I started taking it seriously.
well. Actually, we made you take clarinet in middle school.
Yeah, that's right. I did play clarinet in middle
but
school.
when he started playing guitar, I was like, yeah, maybe I'll start playing bass. And then his mom and I split, and they went out to New Mexico. But I still went ahead and got
Right.
a bass and an amp and started learning it. And so by the time he moved back here, I'd been in a couple of bands and played a bunch of blues jams and stuff. And
Right on. So I think that we should get him to play the flute again.
Yeah.
I still have it.
You still
Do you really?
I still have
See?
it.
We
I didn't know that.
Come on, Chris.
No,
I think you should play flute. I'll play bass.
There you go.
I do need to give the mouthpiece to you to take a dent out.
I've had enough of that.
She's been doing enough repair
so
work
done
right now.
repairing everyone's instruments.
Get John to do it. He knows how to solder. You need to teach him how to take
Put
dents
the
out.
boyfriend to work again.
Oh man, he's getting brazing rods. It's become a whole thing. If we're clearing workbench space, we figure there's just more of this.
Yeah,
That's
but
what happens when we work with marching bands.
yeah, but no, I do still have my flute that I got when I was in like third or fourth grade.
Oh wow.
Put it in your closet, it'll come out an oboe.
Yeah.
Actually, I think we should get together. You can play flute, you can play clarinet, you can play sax. We'll just do a little quartet thing.
Yeah, you.
Wow. I have a
You
bass
totally
clarinet,
should.
too.
Yeah, right there. You got bass, clarinet.
Kevin
there you
will
go.
play guitar for this one, and I will play the bass.
The bass
Really?
clarinet.
You're not gonna play
The
bass?
bass.
Sure, why not? I'll figure it out.
Yes, you will.
And I won't be the only wind player. Yay!
Yay! I had big dreams and visions of having like a whole horn section on a song somewhere, but
we talked about that.
yeah,
When we were listening to the record, we
yeah,
talked
That
about
just
that.
means Chris spending
yeah,
like a whole day doing overdubs.
yeah. It was either that or we give her a section
It's
to.
not that easy, folks.
No, it's not.
It isn't. If I spend any more time in my life having to play thirds on thirds and just hold them,
Okay, but the thing is, you make it look so easy, though.
well, it's one. I mean, my jam is like live playing. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I go into the
you
studio
all
at
are.
request,
Yeah.
but I like to live play.
Yeah.
Put me in front of an audience. That's what I want to do.
And at the end of the day, it's better that we don't overproduce.
Yeah.
Like the gun stuff is better the more natural we keep it.
Absolutely.
A little extra production value here and there is fine for specific songs, but throwing a whole horn section in there, like it would start to lose something. I think.
Yeah,
It would
you're
gain
right.
something else, but
Or like, because it's all recorded, they don't even know it's on the E-Way.
well, now they do.
Why? I mean, but you know what I mean? Like, they can't see the instruments. They don't know if I'm
Yeah.
reproducing something or,
Yeah.
because there's no video.
Sure.
Mhm.
Unless you invite me, and then I can. then you will have video.
Videographer.
So, Dan, let's talk a little bit about what the songwriting process is like for you. You get an idea. When you write the song, at what moment do you decide you want to take it to the rest of the guys?
Well, I mean, honestly, there's only been 2-3 songs that I've written, since I've lived out here that I've brought to them. Everything else has been songs that are already written, more or less. The writing process has been over the past 12 years, of music. I've got I don't have my phone on me right now to give you the exact number, but I think it's around like 50 songs that I have written with lyrics and chord progressions that are
Right now.
Right now. Yeah, right now. That I could just pull up and be like, hey, let's try this one. Like, usually that's how it goes. I'm like, hey, I've got this chord progression and this set of lyrics. Let's give it a try.
Okay.
And usually it's like me and Roger and Kevin, at a practice, like, okay, this is kind of what we're doing. And then like they just pick it up and do it, which is one of the reasons why I love playing with them so much, is because, especially with Kevin for the drum beats, he already knows what I want. Mm-hmm. I've never once been like, play it like this. Not once.
You haven't been that way with anybody.
With anybody. Like, all of them just automatically know what to do because they've all listened to the same music I've listened
Sure.
to. They already know what I'm going
He's
for.
told me to change instruments.
Well, yeah,
you
that
change
was on
instruments. Yeah.
change instruments, but not
Yeah, 'cause
play
not
it
play
this
it this
way.
way. in his head.
Yeah. because specific instruments have a specific feel.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's typically how the writing process as a band goes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've just got a backlog of songs that
Wow,
sitting there
dude.
waiting.
I can't wait for. I mean, like, from the moment I met you guys, I was like, when are we getting a record? When are we getting a record? So now I'm gonna be like, when are we getting the second record?
Well, a lot of that is my fault. Like we've recorded a lot of these songs a couple times, and it just never was exactly what I wanted. I guess I was being a prima donna about a lot of it.
I mean, that's not even so much it. I mean, I think we kind of agreed collectively that we weren't getting enough separation and whatnot.
Yeah.
And actually, this coming together is thanks to you, because we didn't know Jeff until the first Beatles fest.
That's true. Yeah, we met Jeff at the first Beatles,
Yeah.
the
And-
first come together.
And he didn't even hear us doing our original stuff. He heard us doing Beatles covers.
Right.
And because I'd been talking to him because he showed up with his aluminum stand-up.
Yeah.
And so,
I think it's cool.
so I started talking to him prior to the rainstorm, and and I beat on his aluminum bass a little bit, and and he, once we were inside, he happened to be sitting at a table adjacent to where I was sitting, and we talked a little bit more, and then after we played our set, he was like, I dig you guys, and I was like, yeah, we're trying to record it. He's like, I've got a recording set up, and that's how the album came together.
Yeah.
This might not be happening now if it hadn't been for that first
my
Beatles
gosh.
fest.
Yeah.
See,
It's true.
that's the stars aligning,
you,
and you're welcome. All I did was put together a rock show, man. It's all.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were doing recordings at Kevin's old place. And,
Okay.
Honestly, there wasn't that much wrong with the way it sounded. Like, I think the big problem we were having is that somebody was always having to press the button. Like it was
Because
better-
you like doing the live recording,
yeah, and,
so
and Kevin's great at recording. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's gotten some great recordings out of that room. It was more like I wanted all of us to be focused on the music itself. Like,
Sure.
It felt more natural when none of us were the ones hitting the button.
Right.
None of us were the ones setting up the mics. Someone else is doing all of that
Right.
for us, and we could just focus on being musicians. I interned at a recording studio when I was in college.
Okay.
Separate studios in Santa Fe. And one of the guys that worked there, Edgard, he told me eventually one day you got to choose your side of the glass.
yeah.
You're either an engineer or a musician. You can dabble in both, but you have to choose one that you're really focused on. And the more that I tried to record, like at home, and use my knowledge of recording arts in my music, the more I realized you really kind of have to choose one or the other.
Yeah, that's great advice, actually.
Great sound engineers are artists in their own right.
Yeah,
Correct.
because to be a good engineer, you have to be a musician, really. I
Yep.
mean, because you need to know where they're coming from, and it's vice versa, I think. You need to have, as a musician, it's kind of your responsibility to know a little bit about the recording process and understand what your job is and what you need to do.
Well, I'm just glad that you guys were able to hook up with Jeff and do what you wanted
Yeah.
to do, which is focus on the music. So when do you think you're going to do it again?
Well, I guess we'll see.
Okay.
We got to release this one.
I know.
Jeff-
It's not even out. I'm already like, when are you guys doing it again? Sorry.
Well, hopefully by the time this airs, it'll be released.
So you are putting it on streaming platforms, right?
It'll definitely be on Spotify.
And physical copies?
Physical copies, I think we're just going to stick with vinyls. I mean, CD, we all love a CD, but it's kind of gone the way of the dinosaur, let's face it. Not a whole lot of people are buying CDs.
I know. I mean, like,
you
I
know?
think I'm the exception to the
Cars
rule
don't
anymore.
even have CD players
I know.
anymore.
We
Yeah,
were
mine
just-
doesn't.
Yeah. Isn't it, what year is yours?
2016.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, cars don't even have CD players anymore. So,
Wow.
in my opinion, the only real physical copy of the album that you're going to need is a vinyl.
Yeah, it's fitting. It's fitting. Absolutely.
Are we doing Bandcamp?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk to Brandon about that. By the way, Jeff did all the engineering and the mixing, but all the mastering and stuff was done at Instrumental Records.
Okay.
With Brandon Nicholson and Daniel Marstead, and Daniel did an excellent job mastering this record.
Daniel
Shout
is-
out to the Pink Dream.
The Pink
Love you,
Dream
brother.
is he's a magician for
Yeah.
sure, and I'm glad that he was involved in this project
Mm-hmm.
with you. I don't know, not only because he is in the community and he is a friend, but because he knows your music.
Yeah, he knows the music, and he's just got a good ear.
Yeah.
He knows how to make something sound the way it wants to sound.
Absolutely.
Like, he can listen to it, it's like, okay, I know what you're going for, and work off that.
Yeah.
And we had a nice suite of software to run it through, because we did it all very organically and with older equipment. I mean, what was the board we were working off at Jeff's? It was
Like an Alesis or
an
something.
Alesis 24, and that's going straight to
digital tape.
to digital tape. So it's
so
old
we were
school.
essentially,
Oh, wow.
We were
Yeah.
essentially recording analog, but to digital tape instead of tape.
Yeah, yeah.
And when we did the mix downs, he was live mixing. Like, he's got
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime we had a punch in, like, he's working faders as it's mixing down to the actual tape.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And then I took that and I went to Brandon and Daniel. I'm like, hell, we gotta master this, and we only have the stereo track. You don't have individual tracks to work off of. So for what we had to work with at that point, because it was mixed really well. There's nothing wrong with the mixing at all. It's just like, usually when you go to master something, you still have each individual track to
Right.
work off of, and we didn't have that. So
Damn, old school.
old school, yeah. So it went from old school to really new school.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's got a little bit of both.
Excellent, excellent. So, I just very quickly, you were talking earlier about you all listen to the same kind of music. What is that? What's the music that binds you guys together?
Everything. I mean, I think that's why we work so well together, because everybody here listens to a little bit of everything.
Who are your biggest influences
My biggest influence for the Runaway Guns stuff,
in general?
well,
As Dan, tell us.
well, because I have other music that's never going to be a Runaway Guns song,
Sure.
but that I've written that are completely different genres. But my biggest influences for the kind of stuff that I'm writing with the Guns is like the Wood Brothers,
Okay.
Devil Makes Three. I'm trying to think of some other people I can. Oh, Wilco, like newer, kind of newer Wilco, Sky Blue Sky era
Yeah.
Wilco.
And I hate doing like the band comparisons. Oh, your music sounds like, but I do get those Wilco, like little Wilco.
Sky Blue Sky was a kind of pivotal album for me. Another one
Yeah.
that he introduced me to
Yeah?
at a very pivotal point in my life where I needed that album. It's an album about heartache
Sure.
and a nasty breakup, and he gave it to me right as I was going through all of that, so it really hit hard for me. And also, I mean, Impossible Germany. God,
That's
What a song.
That song is
geez. Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah, and then stuff like that, and then also another indie band, Future Birds. The Future Birds, they're another big influence on me. They're kind of psychedelic country.
Oh,
So
right
a lot
on.
of alt country stuff too, like Jason Isbell,
Oh yeah.
because of the absolute gut wrenching sorrow that you feel in a lot of his music.
Anxiety by him is probably my favorite song by him.
Really good song. And then Todd Snyder, my favorite folk singer.
Yeah.
He's got a very lighthearted aspect to him, but at the same time, a lot of the stuff he sings about is pretty dark too.
Sure.
But he's funny. He's a really funny guy. He tells a lot of stories, and his music is all stuff that's happened to him. So, like, I've always when I think about writing lyrics, Todd Snyder is kind of my biggest influence, because he writes about what he knows and what he's felt and what he's lived.
Sure.
And there's an honesty to his music that I appreciate.
That's like the best. I mean, some of my favorite artists are very honest like that. There's no, you don't second guess where they're coming from.
Yeah.
For sure. Roger.
My influences really are, the foundation is the Bakersfield sound. It's the Waylon Jennings, Buck Owens, Merle Haggard kind of stuff. And so that's kind of my root. If I don't know what the hell else I'm going to do, I'm going to play root fifths and walk up and walk down until I figure out what I really want to do. And, then I played so many open blues jams when I first started playing out a while back. So in terms of the way I play, that's kind of it. It's classic country and 12-bar blues. But I was a huge Zeppelin fan in high school.
Wow.
And and so you listen to John Paul Jones and go, yeah, I'm not doing that.
He is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
JPJ, for
But,
sure.
you know, also a lot of the newer stuff with the alt country thing when it came out. Uncle Tupelo,
Yep.
Sunvolt, Wilco. You know, I'm a little more Team Jay Farrar.
Are you really?
Yeah, I love Sunvolt. And you know, he's not as heartfelt and deep as, you know, people like Jason Isbell or the Wood Brothers, but like all of his songs have like one line that make me go, "Oh, damn, that's a well written line." Mm-hmm. You know, and you were talking about how you don't really catch on to lyrics. I focus on lyrics when I'm listening to other people's music. When I'm listening to us, I'm just like, did I screw up? Did I screw up? But
It's okay. Don't listen too close.
yeah. But yeah, I listen to lyrics more than I do music a lot of times.
Wow.
You know, especially with simpler music, which is what I like. That's why I like a lot of the Texas singer-songwriters like Steve Earle and Lyle Lovett and, you know, Townes Van Zandt and Guy Clark, all those guys that write really, really good lyrics.
Yeah. I mean, I do listen to lyrics, but it's not the first thing I listen
Yeah,
to.
so that's the first thing I listen to.
And there are times when I, like you were just saying, you know, there are times when I find songs and I'm like, wow, that lyric just punched me in the face.
Yeah.
Like just this right here just punched me in the face. And sometimes it's like, well, how come you didn't get that? You know, you didn't listen to that the first time. But that's just, I don't know what it is. And to me, which is weird because I sing, but to me, singers sound like an instrument. I hear them like an instrument. So I'm not hearing words. I'm just hearing the melody and the harmony and all of that. It's super weird. Super, super weird. Kevin?
I agree with you. The music guy first, lyrics maybe 20 years later.
I don't take that long.
Oh,
but
that's what that song's about. Okay.
yeah, right.
Man, everything. Jeez.
Let me ask you something really quick. Outside from if your band permits me, outside of the Runaway Guns, you picked to do my favorite Smashing Pumpkins show or song at the last show that with your other band.
Yeah.
Why did you pick that song?
Oh man, the singles soundtrack was a pivotal album for me. I mean, I think that came out like
90.
freshman year of high school for me. So the songs on that were awesome. I liked Siamese Dream after that.
Mm-hmm. The song is called Drown, by the way.
Yeah, Drown, which is an awesome song. And I don't know. Yeah, because of the single soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were influenced by a lot of that music?
Sure, yeah. I mean, that was, you know, I was the right age to be into grunge.
Same
you
here.
know, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, all of it. I loved it. I ate it up. But, you know, I had older brothers and sisters, so I liked classic rock. I liked punk rock, you know, Minor Threat, and the DC scene and stuff like that, Fugazi. And then... and then my parents again. You know, me and Roger bond over old, you know, classic country like Merle Haggard,
Yeah.
and Hank Williams. And
Anytime
stuff
we're
like
at a hootenanny, Kevin has to play Silver Wings for his mom.
That's right. Yeah,
He has to relearn it every time.
that and that and Mama Tried. Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. But yeah, and then you know, me and Daniel bond over like old thrash and heavy metal and Ramones and stuff like that.
I mean, it's one of the things I love about you the most is that you're so open-minded about music.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, I like to stay that way too.
Right.
Like I can talk about a random band that no one else has heard of, and then you'll know who they are.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you.
Sheepdogs.
Sheepdogs.
I don't know
Everyone
them.
knows who they are now.
Yeah,
they're kind of big now.
Yeah, you know a lot of stuff that I've never heard of. Devil May Cry 3, I've never.
I wrote
Heard
that
of.
down because I'm going to go check it out.
Oh, yeah,
for
check 'em
sure.
out.
Yeah,
Oh, Devil May
they
Cry
are
3 is cool.
good. Yeah. What was the other one? What was the bird band you
Future
mentioned?
Birds.
Future Birds.
Yeah,
Never
Future
heard of
Birds.
that.
Psychedelic country.
Right on. Love that.
Basically, they record everything like a regular like alt country band, but they make it really wet. It's super
Ooh.
wet recordings. It like sounds like they're recording inside of a water tower.
Right on.
And the vocals are very much an instrument for them.
Yeah,
A
okay.
lot of the time, but their lyrics are cool too. They're very spacey.
Very cool, very cool.
We're selling everybody's records but ours.
By the way, we're coming out with a record.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's
It's not exactly released yet.
it's
but-
not exactly released yet, but I mean,
Well, I mean, one of the things that I loved about when I was a kid, and I would, we're around the same age because when that single soundtrack came out, I mean, I went to see the movie at the theater when it played. I ditched school to go see it. I always ditch school.
You ditched school?
I always ditch school, dude. My sophomore year, I'm not even sure how they passed me. But, just going back and learning certain things like, yeah, I listened to Zeppelin and the Beatles and, my mom was huge into Frampton. She just told me that, something I didn't know. My mom said that as a newborn, she would play Frampton Comes Alive like almost every day. And she was like, baby girl, you and I would listen to this record almost every day.
explains a lot.
So I listened to my parents' music a lot. And then I discovered I had my own music. But then listening to some of that, like Soundgarden and, Smashing Pumpkins and Pearl Jam and even, Guns N' Roses or Metallica, I would read everything that they ever, like, every interview.
Yeah,
And if
same.
they said, we're listening to this, I would be like, oh, I'm going to get that.
You go back in time, and
Yeah.
figure out who influenced the people you dig. Yeah.
Exactly. You can't, I don't know. I learned so much by doing that. And so I appreciate what you're saying here. Chris, who are your biggest influences?
Well, I mentioned I came to like popular music and stuff really, really
Correct.
late. So, generally my influences or whatever my friends' influences are. Like I have a running document on my phone that's, music to listen to, music to learn. So like I remember the first time Dan said The Devil's Mix 3 because it went on the list. And then when I drove around, that's all I listened to for the next like 3 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's
That
constantly.
explains so much.
Yes. So I still am very clinical about it. I don't listen to music for pleasure because
Really?
it gets in the way. I can't do anything because that's all I'm listening to. It's very distracting to me.
Oh, wow.
I listen to like garbage talk stuff. Like I will listen to court TV all day long. Judge Judy is my jam. That's what I listen because music is very distracting to me.
Why do you think that is?
Well, for one thing, it is visually distracting to me. I actually see other things.
Right.
It is very visually distracting.
Okay.
So I just can't work. So, so everything I do is it's a little more clinical that way. Now, if I was thinking about, I spent time with certain styles. Like I got really absorbed into klezmer, clarinet for a while, Dixieland jazz for a while. Very into Canadian folk singers.
Really?
Like I listened to a lot of the Ducks and Stan Rogers for a long time.
Say that again.
The Ducks.
The Ducks.
Yeah, and Stan Rogers.
I'm gonna look those up.
Oh yeah, great tunes. Listen to some Barrett Privateers if you want some good harmonies. But there's no music I don't particularly like exactly. There's certain things with distortion that really bother me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's a personal I can do it, but it looks ugly to me, so I just don't care for it.
Wow.
It's just the way my brain works. Especially as a lead player though now. When you learn classically to play leads, they always want you to learn to play like the pentatonic scale. And it was an amazing thing in my own life when I realized that lead playing, you don't learn to play the pentatonic scale. You take the chromatic scale and remove the things that don't sound right. And then if you want to play one of those notes that you don't think sound right, that's cool. Just do it twice. Play the second one louder and a little half step. And it always sounds good. It's just now you're playing outside of the box. So, right. So, but that's it. It's, improvisation is so freeing in that way.
Right.
If you look at it from a different aspect. So, but, my poor children, who, when I would hear a lick in a song that I really wanted to learn, I would then do, Siri, please repeat this song. And for the next 2 days,
Oh, wow.
that song would play every time we got into the truck or every time I turned music on for any reason. My kids slept through band practices. They could sleep through a nuclear bomb, I'm sure. It's just because it's just always been, it's a little unusual, but it's just the way I do it. Like I said, because I just came to it so late. You know,
So-
everything was
so-
very classical.
So how do you choose music for your music program? Do you just
Well, I told someone this the other day. I'm going to be the elementary honor chorus director this year, and I'm a co-director for Honor Jazz. And I was telling my colleagues that I pick music that are two things. They are either heartbreakingly beautiful or they're clever.
Oh wow.
And it's really one or the other. That if I'm picking music, those are the two reasons. And of course, my best friend was sitting there, and she went, "And that's how you pick your friends, too, right?" I was like, yep, "Damn, Skippy." So
There's a formula to this.
exactly, right, Roger. But I always pick music for my kids that I can listen to 500 times. Because I will have to.
Yeah, smart.
Especially teaching elementary.
Smart.
You know, because I mean, I don't have to do it quite so much with, the high school or when I do collegiate. But elementary school, man, we're going to play whatever that thing is. Lots and lots of times. I better like it.
Yeah.
I'd better like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the other side of that, though, is it has to be really engaging to the kids. But I believe, I do popular music with the kids. I think it's important because it's their music.
Sure.
But I believe that there is music that is more teachable. I don't want to do music just because it's a fun song to sing, but there's musical concepts to be taught.
Right.
So I'm always looking for music. Like we're doing an Alicia Keys song this year at the end of the year called Underdog. And it's one of those heart-wrenchingly beautiful songs. At the same time, it's got a great message that, my Title I kids will really dig and they'll get into. And, and I'll do it with a live band at the end of the year. And, that's the kind of stuff I like to do with the kids.
Excellent.
It has to have meaning in multiple ways.
Sure.
So.
Well, cool. So what is, you guys are, when is the record dropping?
Next month.
Next
It's going to
month.
be in October.
Okay.
Probably second week of October. That just depends on when, when we get the album art done.
Oh, yeah. And so are you sticking to the,
No.
no, you changed it. Damn it.
Yeah, because that song is no longer on the album.
Yeah, that song's no longer on the album.
Okay.
Yeah, because also the song that we're cutting, that album's going to be its own thing. It's
Hold
going to
on.
be more
Okay.
thematic.
What are we talking about? I'm lost.
Doomsday Live.
That's what it was going to be called?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
I decided to cut that out because I want the album called Doomsday Live to kind of follow that theme.
Okay.
A little more.
Oh, we're going
Why
to
don't
do a
you just wait-
concept album. Awesome.
Yeah, we're
Just
gonna.
wait for the next pandemic.
Yeah, wait for the next music.
Chris! Have it produced, have it ready to
We
drop.
had a bunch of Well, there's plenty of Doomsday stuff going on around us to write about.
I think if
Lord
there's
knows.
a second pandemic, nobody's going to pay attention to it and we're all going to die for sure. So,
We'll
Well,
see.
I'll tell you, the first thing I'm going to do is quit my job.
Yeah.
Seriously.
if it's the end of the world, why not, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm just done.
Absolutely.
I love
Absolutely.
y'all, but no.
So, so next month, and it's called Sooner or Later, and we're gonna get vinyl, which is yay,
Yeah.
awesome. And so, what's next for the Runaway Guns?
Well, one of the things I hope to do with an album up is kind of start promoting ourselves to venues outside of the county a little bit. Try
Sure.
and play some venues where we haven't played before. Get ourselves out there a little bit.
Absolutely, why not? I think, again, you guys are one of my favorites. I'm so happy that this record is coming out. I know I've said it a couple times. I'll say it again. I am so happy this record is coming out. And I think that everyone should hear your music for sure.
Thank you.
I still think we should have a party.
Well, we're going to try to have a party. We'll figure that out.
Release parties are my favorite thing.
There will be a release party, but it might not coincide with the release.
Oh, that's fine.
'Cause
As long as there's a party.
We want to get
Chris
this thing
wants a
out.
party. Damn it! I
We're
want
gonna have a party.
a party
We're gonna have
too.
a party.
Thank you guys so much for taking the time to sit with me. Again, you guys are one of my favorites, and I can't wait to hear the reception to this album from the community and beyond. Thank you so much for coming, man.
Thanks for having
Thanks
us.
for having us.
Man.